Good morning, coaches. Today I'm going to be talking through U10s preseason day 2. In the first video that I did on preseason day one really is about just reestablishing or establishing structure, routines, procedures, helping players understand and how to navigate what a basic session is going to look like. And so for us, I really like the play, practice, play format. Players come in, especially when players don't all arrive at the same time, having an activity where they can enter and play. We do 1v1s, 2v2s, 3v3s, building up until we've got, everybody there, and then we can do some small-sided games. And then we transition to our practice activity where we focus on our particular theme or focus. And then we finish with our game form scrimmage at the end. And of course, we're trying to keep the cohesion between all three activities, guiding questions, reinforcing principles, as well as, specific player actions. And so for, that day one, it's really about just setting the structure so that as we navigate towards when we have our focuses, the structure is in place. They're not having to relearn activities. They're not having to relearn the wheel. Everything is set for them. For day two, really, it again is about connecting back to those procedures or routines. With our day two, we built up towards 3v3, and then we had a team sitting off, and as soon as the team scored, the team that was off would pop back on. And it was really high intensity because we're playing for a very short amount of time. Team scores, they stay. The team that got scored on is off, and so there's a strong incentive to want to continue playing, and you want to get back on the field to play. It was a really good setup. Now the temperatures that we have are pretty significant, so it did lend itself towards a little bit longer breaks than typical, but that was okay. Really want to make sure player safety is paramount. And then we navigated towards breakout games. So with the breakout game that we have, basically what this is a structured scrimmage that is designed primarily to focus on transitions that are going to give players a slightly different look at a different problem. With this particular breakout game, we have our yellow team attacking north, blue team attacking south, and our starting setup is this small grid right in the middle. And we have our player in yellow who is attempting to dribble past these two defenders in this box. And if they are able to cross this line, or if they're able to successfully dribble past those two defenders, they get a free run-in on goal. If, however, they do not, and the setup is designed specifically so that they don't, the way I have the grid set up, it's very difficult for this player to get through. Not impossible, but difficult. The idea is that these two players are going to win possession and immediately transition into attack. Similarly, the team in yellow, although they start in possession, are going to have to transition into defense. And so how you arrange the players outside is really the big impetus, because when we transition from attack to defense or defense to attack, what is that going to look like? Now for us, again, is day two, just trying to get familiar with the activity, with the parameters. Didn't do a whole lot of specific intentionality for the principles. Really, it was just about getting the activities going. But I do want to introduce one idea for how we can think about our own principles and how we play and how that can connect to our players. Now, when we as coaches, we talk about our phases, attack, defense, transition. Those are sometimes things we can talk about with players in that specific language, but a lot of times that is kind of more coach-to-coach language. For me, especially when connecting with players on the field, that more holistic focus of attention, those interaction-based principles are a much better way for instigating that interaction. Rather than thinking about, oh, we're attacking, we're trying to destabilize. By approaching that interaction, we have an organized setup in front of us that we are trying to break, disrupt, destabilize. That is going to put a much more focused intention into the players' attention, so that when they are navigating what's in front of them, they are thinking, how am I interacting with not only my teammates, but with the opposition? I'm not attacking, I'm destabilizing. I'm exploiting. I am denying. I'm supporting. I am organizing. That holistic focus of attention is going to align much more successfully with how they can embody those behaviors that we want to see. Now, with U10s, using terms like destabilize might not be the most effective considering they're 9 years old. However, those behaviors that those terms embody can be connected with player archetype terms. Obviously, as an English teacher, archetypes are things that I deal with, and so that's something that I do feel like can be successful in the classroom with helping students understand the nature of characters and those archetypes, seeing those archetypes in how they manifest themselves, not only in literature, can work with players as well. So I did, for day 2, ask the players. I was like, hey, when we step on the field and we're getting ready to play, who are you? Are you the hunter? Are you the warrior? Are you the protector? Who are you when you step on the field? What is your role? What does that look like for you? Now, again, there's not instruction here. I'm not prescribing for them what they should do, but I do want them to kind of reflect on, who am I? When I step on the field, what do I embody? Am I a hunter? Am I a warrior? Am I a wall? What am I? Who am I when I step on the field? And it breaks it, hey, I noticed that you were hunting when you did X. I noticed that you were protecting when you did Y. I noticed that you drove the play in this moment. How did that feel? What do you remember about that? By eliciting that kind of language from day 2, starting to kind of get them thinking about that archetype and how it connects to them, we can more successfully then build on how we progress as we move forward into the next sessions that we have. So for us, really a day, preseason, couple days is really about procedure and routine, but it's also about trying to begin using some language that is player focused and player driven, so that as we develop our principles, as we develop our, how we approach the game, both in attack, defense, and transition, we can do so in a way that aligns with interaction-based principles that are more likely going to transfer and be stable, but we can also do so using player-driven language that is going to help them identify with the kinds of roles that they will hopefully be able to manifest in our sessions and ideally in the game. So for us, day 2, 77 breakout, what are our interaction-based principles? And what kinds of player archetypes do we have? Cheers.